Hi, welcome. My name is Dina. Welcome in. Hello. Today I'm gonna bring you my updated skincare. What? My updated skin tutorial on Procreate. I do have an old one. I'm gonna put a link somewhere. I don't know where. Somewhere. And you can watch that one, but that's a really outdated way that I'm not doing it anymore. That used to be in monochromatic grayscale, whereas now I use base colors. So if this is what you're interested in, please grab a drink, let's get cozy, and I hope you enjoy this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you next week. Or a little bit of a speed paint. But yes, enjoy the video. So the first thing I do is I pick my base color. So I always go for like slightly more desaturated tones, get thin render solid, you know it, and we're gonna go around it. So I'm just speeding it up so you don't just see me just go around the outline of the body, but go around the outline of where you can see skin and plop in your color. Okay, this is called a base color. So after the base color, I was gonna do the hair. So another quick speed through of the hair. So once the hair is done, the first thing I do is my first shadow. So we create a new layer, okay? We're gonna clip and mask it. And then we're gonna pick our skin color and go a slightly darker tone, so you'll see moving down, and slightly more to the red. That's gonna be our first shadow. I'm gonna get my soft brush, and I'm putting it around the cheekbones, the side of the face, the creases, the nose, the forehead, because she has bangs and will create a lot of shadow, and also on her neck. And then we're gonna smudge. I'm using Dreams. I believe this is by Jing Sketch. But when I smudge, I'm not gonna do the whole thing. I smudge parts of it, but I want that straight line to come through. I don't want it to be too soft. So I'm just going around and smudging things away. Another area where there's shadow is under the armpits and also the collarbones. If you want to have a very specific shadow, please use a reference and just try and work on your anatomy. That's a great way to know that your shadows are correct. Also, always use a reference. She says, as she doesn't. So we're creating another layer, and now we're gonna bring the blush. Now we're going on the redder tone, but lighter. It's gonna look weird, but it's fine. We're gonna get the selection tool, and I follow the cheekbones, and I'm gonna feather it. I was playing around with how much feather I wanted it to be. So it was a little bit too much, so I'm smudging and erasing some of it so that it's where I want it to be. This would normally be around the cheeks and sometimes on the nose, depending how, rushed you want it to look, or like doughy. Another place where I tend to put this is the shoulders and sometimes on their forehead, just a little bit. This is where I feather it quite a lot, around the 25 to 30%. Then it opens this up a bit. Now we create the second shadow. So we have a shadow, a blush, and now we're gonna have shadow number 2. We get our base color, we go slightly darker, and this will be in the areas where there's darker shadows. And I want this to be fairly sharp, so I'm using a selection tool. I can't do straight, so it's fine. Now for this, you don't want, or for me, in my case, I don't want any softness to this. I might smudge a little bit like I did here, but for the most part, I want it to not be softened. And I'm going again back to the creases because there would be more shadow there, and also the nose. Now here is where you can start putting makeup, and this is what I'm doing with the lips. But the main structure of the face will stay the same. Now whether you want to add more layers of shadow because of makeup, you just keep adding on to it. Now I'm also following the direction of the hair, because the hair would also create a drop shadow on the face. And then again, we get our smudge tool and we smudge away. I swear, I put something down with a paintbrush and then I get a smudge tool. I'm here now rendering the lips. I just wanted it to have like a bit of an ombre effect, which is why I'm doing it on the sides. And then we're gonna brush away. I can do a whole separate video about lips if you're interested, so do let me know down below if you would like me to make one. So I tend to always put a little bit of redness into the eyes. I find it just makes them pop a little bit more. Now again, if you go for a specific makeup look, then obviously you put the colors of that makeup because this is where they would go. But I find that when you smudge a redder tone or a purpler tone, it gives it a bit more dimension to the face. And again, what do we get? The smudging tool. But again, I'm not smudging everywhere. I'm leaving parts of it like a harder line. I don't want it too soft everywhere. So the next and last thing I tend to do on the skin is do the highlights. I always put highlights on the eyelids, and I do this weird H. So I go line, wiggle, line. That's how I call it. The crease and also at the bottom crease as well. Now I don't tend to highlight the cheekbones, but this could be something you do, and I do highlight the nose. But I wouldn't put anything else on the actual skin itself. We're also highlighting the lips because I want it to be that like doughy, glowy feel to it. Now I wanted to show you how you can do it for like a magical character. So I'm giving her blue skin so that just so you can understand the principle behind it with such a very unrealistic skin color. So again, thin render solid, and we're gonna go around the outline and just blob it in. So we're gonna speed paint this as well. So again, new layer, clipping mask, and then we pick our base color and go a little bit darker and slightly towards the redder tones. And again, we put it where the cheeks would be, the side of the faces, the crease, the nose, any shadow that would come because of hair. So for this side, would have a drop shadow because of that fringe. The neck, and also the inside of the ear. Now again, use a reference if you want to do something a bit more elaborate or a study. There's great references you find in Pinterest and stuff, so you know, do use one if you feel that you're not confident with something like this. And guess what? The smudge. Smudge away. Again, for my taste, I don't like to go overly soft everywhere, so I smudge parts of it but leave certain lines opaque. I also tend to put some shadow on the neck and stuff. And then we go slightly a little bit darker we clip and mask again, just to add a bit of a dimension to the shadows. So now that we're gonna smudge again, you can see the first shadow popping through. And I find that this is like a really lovely gradient on skin tone specifically. So that's why I always tend to have one shadow, which is a little bit darker, and the second shadow as your darkest point. So there's about 3 layers, or 4 sometimes if I want to add a bit more shadow. The third layer tends to be the blush. Before I do that, we're going to do the hair just so you can see it clearly. So let's speed through this again. Okay, so for the blush, we're going to create a new layer, clip and mask again. Now, again, you want to go towards the reds and find the closest. So for this skin color, because it's blue, it would have been towards the purples. So we selection tool, we feather it out. Again, we feather out the shoulders and also the forehead. Now, I wanted a bit more dimension still for this particular character, so I created a deeper purple as a far deeper shadow. So I'm using that on the creases, in the ear, the inside of the ear, because again, that would be where the darker shadow would be, and also on her neck. And guess what time it is? Smudge time! I swear, it's just a paint and a smudge. Paint and a smudge. And just smudge away. But again, don't smudge overly too much. Now here I just wanted to show you how I tend to render the wide eye. So you put the white of the eye. I don't do a pure white. It's more like slightly more gray, but you can't see it because of the skin tones. And then we take a desaturated darker purple. And I always do like a line because that's where the eyelid would create a shadow naturally. And we smudge a little bit away. Now, if you wanted to go for demonic eyes, you can just do a whole, instead of having the white of the eye, you can just do, I don't know, full on red if you wanted to. So we get a line. You do want parts of the white of the line to show because you want to show it, because again, it's a shadow, it's not casting on the whole thing. So for the highlights, you again want to pick up your skin color and go lighter and desaturated. So for this one, because it's the blue color, we're going for a paler blue. And again, we're doing the line, wiggly line. We do the inner of the crease and at the bottom crease. Now, sometimes, depending where your light source is, so for this particular one, it was towards the left. So I'm going around her cheek and also her neck and shoulders. Again, for any light studies, light can be quite a hard subject, so definitely bring references and spend some time studying it. I need to do some more. Here I was just trying a few different ways to render her nose, and then again, it's smudge time. I also wanted to highlight the lips so you can see how I tend to normally do it. So there you go. That's how I tend to normally do skin. If you like it, please let me know. Let me know if you do any yourself. I want to know what you've used. And if you have any questions, please let me know. And I will see you in the next one. Bye!